Hello everyone, this is Lambert, a SPOTO lecturer. In 4.2 of 200301 exam topics, in here, configure and verify NTP operating in a client and server mode. So in this video, we will learn about NTP. So what is NTP? NTP full name is Network Time Protocol. It's a networking protocol for clock synchronization between computer systems over packet switch variable latency data network. In other words, the main role of NTP is to synchronize the time between devices over the network, and NTP works based on UDP. The port number is 123. So why is time synchronized so important for network device? If the time between devices is not synchronized, when we doing troubleshooting, it will cause us a lot of trouble because the syslock time is not consistent. Or if a time-based policy is deployed, there will be problems due to incurrent time. There are many other problems besides that. So synchronize the time between devices is a very important thing that is ignored by someone. If there are not many devices, we can specify the device time by setting it manually. How to set the device time manually? The first step is to set the time zone. Specify the current time zone of the device with the clock time zone command. Okay, let me set the clock time zone. In here, clock time zone. I'm in China now, so I set the time zone to GMT 8. If you don't specify the time zone, the default time zone is UTC 0. Step 2, to set the clock. Here, exit to privileged mode and use the clock set command to set the clock. The first is hour and minute, and second, let me set 010101, and then is a day or month. The day is 2 and the month is OCT, and the year is 2020. Then let me show the clock in here, and you can use show clock details and say time source is user config. By setting the time manually between different devices, the time difference between devices can be reduced to 1 second. After synchronization through NTP, the time difference between devices will be very small, usually only 1 millisecond in length. Even through one synchronization, the difference will only be tens of milliseconds. When there are many devices, using NTP is the first choice. There are thousands of public NTP servers around the world. Some of them even determine the time by automatic clock. So if your device is allowed to access the internet, then I recommend synchronize the time direct through one of these public NTP servers. I recommend using port.ntp.org here. It will usually return IP addresses for servers in or close to your country. For most users, this will give the best results. The NTP server IP or domain command tells the device where its NTP server is located, and the time zone of the device still need to be specified manually. After all the settings are done, you can check the center time. Okay, let me see the router 1. It's connected to the internet. And then let me check ping cisco.com. It succeeds. Then we set the NTP server is pool.ntp.org. Here, show clock and the show NTP start is in here. The clock is unsynchronized. We need to wait. We can ping pool.ntp.org. It's success. Waited. This server is not stable in China, so I will change to another NTP server. Like NTP1 dot. Let me ping it. Success. Then let me check the NTP started. Here we can see the time source is NTP. But the clock is unsynchronized. We need to wait it. If your device is not allowed to access the internet, at this point, we need to deploy our own NTP server in the LAN. How to set up device as an NTP server? The first step is to set the time of the NTP server according to the method of setting the time manually in front of you. And step 2, configure this device as NTP server. The number after master is straighten. When straighten is not set, the default is 8. The NTP straighten module is a representation of the hierarchy of time server in an NTP network, where the straighten level 0 to 15 indicates the device's distance to the reference clock. Straighten 0 means a device is directly connected to, for example, an atomic clock. Straighten 0 devices cannot distribute time over a network directly, though hence they must be linked to a Straighten 1 time server that will distribute the time to Straighten 2 server or client, and so on. The higher the Straighten number, the more the timing accuracy and the stability degree. The NTP protocol does not allow the client to accept time from a Straighten 15 device. Hence, Straighten 15 is the lowest NTP Straighten. Step 3. Configure the source IP address of the NTP packet. This step is not necessary, but I recommend setting it to the loopback interface of the device for higher reliability. Now, we set router 1 as the NTP server in the LAN, router 2 as the client. Router 2 synchronizes the time from router 1. Okay. The NTP server is just needed to configure NTP master, and the straighten we can use 8 or others. In here, we ignore it. And then we set the NTP source is loopback 0. The loopback IP address is here. In here, we configure router 1 is NTP master, and the NTP source is loopback 0. And the loopback 0 IP address in here. And then we need the router 2 ping IP address. It says this. And then We configure the router 2 is the NTP client. Here is NTP server, point to the loopback 0. You can see the time source is NTP. After you configure NTP, you can check it in the following way. Show NTP started command to check whether the clock has been synchronized, and show NTP association command to view NTP peers. The use of authentication mechanism in the NTP is critical in preventing an attacker from tampering with time information. The configuration is shown in the figure. Step 1 is enable authentication. Use the NTP authenticate. And step 2 is configuration password. Use NTP authentication key, and the key ID and MD5 is the password. And step 3, use a password. Configure the NTP trust key and use the key ID. In the case of only one key, it is not necessary to use the step 3. And in client, step 1 is enable authentication. Use the NTP authenticate. And step 2, configuration password. Key ID is not needed, same with the server. And step 3, use a password. Trust the key ID. And step 4, specify the password for the server and follow in here key ID. Okay. If you have any questions or need learning materials related to Cisco certification, you can follow the information displayed on the screen to join our chat group. If you think the video is helpful to you, please subscribe to our channel, and we will upload more videos related to Cisco certification in the future. Thank you. Bye.